What will taste better, your barbecue wrapped in beef tallow or in butter? Let's find out.
Big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
The reason that I love to cook barbecue is because it produces
juicy
and tender meat. And of course, long cooking times produce tender meat, but the juiciness sometimes comes with a little help. For instance, if you wrap ribs, you also put in a little lump of butter to make them nice and creamy when you unpack them, and that's also how they end up with a little bit of shine on them. With brisket and beef ribs, you normally wrap with a little bit of beef tallow to get that shine and to make it nice and juicy on the outside. And so you see, adding a little bit of butter or beef tallow is the way to go to make things that little bit extra special. But the real question is, should you be adding beef tallow or should you be adding butter? And to find out, I selected two beautiful pieces of meat. I got some chuck here that looks like it came from the Wagyu cow. Insane, beautiful marbling, dark red meat. And you could argue that it doesn't need any butter or beef tallow because this is good enough. Well, we'd like to take it to the next level. And therefore, we're going to wrap one with butter and the other with beef tallow. I'm going to be grilling on the Napoleon grill. First I'm going to put in some briquettes behind the brick wall so I create an indirect zone. I'm going to light it up with a couple of fire starters. And these briquettes have a little bit of smoke within them, so I'm not going to add too much smoke this time. For seasoning, I'll be using the PITMASTERX deli seasoning, and not many people know this, but I based this off of the pastrami flavors and then mixed in a little bit of barbecue flavors. It really tastes familiar. Now I'm going to season this with a nice heavy coat. Of course, I'm going to season the sides as well, and that's for the looks as well as the flavor. Of course, you can find the recipe for this seasoning on our website, but you can also buy this in our store. Pastrami flavors in barbecue on beef really is the bomb. It's the bomb. We should have called it a bomb. All right, now we got this seasoned up. The charcoal's almost lit up. I'm going to put in the grill grates. Put the chuck steaks in over indirect heat, then close the lid, open the top vent all the way, and then close the bottom vent to almost one stripe closed. And that's going to give me a temperature of around 120 degrees Celsius, which is around 240 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll smoke it until a core temperature of 70 degrees Celsius, and that's probably going to take about 2 hours or until I like the color. We're an hour and a half in, but I just checked and look at the color. Whoa, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that color. We got that mahogany red smoke color on the chuck steaks. So that means it's time to wrap. And I prepared some butter and beef tallow to wrap it up with. So I'm good to go. I got my paper right here, and I'm gonna make sure I have plenty of paper, because if you're using beef tallow or butter to make your barbecue taste really amazing, then you wanna make sure that it stays with whatever you're putting it with. So that means plenty of wrap. And I kinda like the idea of using paper with beef tallow, because it kind of soaks up all of the excess juices but still captures a lot in it. Let's get one of the steaks off and put it on the paper. If you could only smell that. It's so good. Wow. All right, let's load it up with the beef tallow. It's actually quite a lot, but for the experiment's sake, I really want to overdo it a little bit so that we get good results. All right, there we go. Time for the first wrap, fold. There we go. Then go in. I'm gonna put it with the folds upwards. Okay, so the beef tallow is done. Now it's time to wrap the butter. Get the chuck steak, put it on, put the butter on. Get that pen out. There we go. Come on, come. There we go. These are now going to go back on the barbecue. I'm also going to add a couple more briquettes. Go. Close the lid, and now I'm going to let the temperature come up to 140, a little higher than before. It will speed up the cooking process, but it will also help to render down all the fat that sits in the chuck steak. Ooh. Just got the notification that they are done. And let me tell you, I was gonna say I smell the butter a bit stronger than the beef, but standing over them is like, it could be both. I can clearly smell that this is butter, and I can clearly smell that this is beef tallow. The only thing that I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna wait for it to rest a little bit. You see, it's still hot, and I wouldn't be doing the meat any justice if I take it out now and start tearing it apart. I'm gonna give it about 30 minutes or so, just to get down from 92 degrees Celsius core temperature, which we have in these chuck steaks, down to about 65 degrees Celsius, so we're actually able to eat them, and that they're nice and juicy and look perfect and are really tender and juicy. So patience is the word. Wait for it. Let's get that butter chuck steak out of the package. That's a whole lot of package. Still steaming. Ooh, looking good. Oh. I'm just gonna make sure I don't get most of that butter out. Just gonna, ooh, still nice and warm. What are we seeing? Well, I see two identical chuck steaks, so the looks are not changed by butter or by beef tallow. But now let's take a look inside. Ooh, does it look good? Let's find out. We got a nice smoke ring, juicy beef, looks absolutely freaking delicious. But it doesn't seem to be any different still. And I'm really curious because I love butter. I put it on almost anything. It's like my olive oil. All right, first I'm going to do the beef tallow because this is what I do the most in barbecue. Nice and beefy, delicious piece of chuck. Just in general, real nice barbecue. And it has that smoky beefy combination, and I really feel that the beef tallow, it doesn't take away from what you're trying to build up. So that's kind of cool, I like that. Now let's go for the butter. This is what I use mostly with ribs, and it looks stunning. There we go. Okay, I didn't expect that. This is a good test because I really enjoy the butter. You see, I expected the butter to be really buttery and taking flavor away from the chuck steak, but as I'm eating it, I don't feel that way at all. I feel that the chuck steak is speaking to me, but I got a rich, creamy feel to the bite. It is like really tasty. It's not overpowering, whereas the beef is almost too beefy. Yeah, the beef is almost too beefy. Well, the butter is really well balanced. I didn't expect this. I already made up my mind that beef tallow was probably going to be better, but honestly, the butter is really good. If you're a purist, then you would definitely say go with the beef tallow. It's marginal, you know, I get it, it's marginal. But look at it side by side. See that? See the difference? Comment down below, have you tried this? I need to know, am I the only person that thinks butter is better, or are you with me? Let me know.